feel like it's just about time to get into IGZIST versus Donuts Varel. Are you hungry, Mandy?
Yep, I'm very hungry.
For some siege? For some donuts?
For some siege. Honestly, donuts would go so hard right now. You have no idea. I have like the craziest sweet tooth. I don't know if like, I don't know. I feel like this is not a thing that we talk about on stream that much, but like, damn, donuts, they sound pretty good.
Do you like churros? They're a kind of donut.
No.
Don't like churros? Okay.
I like donuts because they're a fun shape, you know? They're round.
Well, I was just going to say, I know where you are right now, like where you're casting from, and there is actually a churro shop across the road, just in case you like
churros. Churros are okay, you know, but they're like a weird shape. You know, when you like when you bite the churro, it's like, why is it like pokey? You know?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, how about lucamadas? You know, Greek donuts. Lucamadas are amazing. Have you had lucamadas before?
No. What are those?
Greek donuts. I just told you that.
Well, I've not had Greek donuts before, and I will try them. That sounds pretty good.
They are amazing.
Have you tried donuts, Farrell?
I have, and they're so good. I love them.
Oh god, it's terrible. Anyway, Clubhouse.
This is actually a big deal, Manny. Like this is two Japan League teams going up against each other in the quarterfinals of the last chance qualifier for a goddamn major spot. And it's a rematch to boot. Last time these two teams played against each other in Clubhouse, IGZIST won in an incredibly tight overtime. Varel will be gunning for revenge.
I'm excited for this one. I feel like IGZIST are on the rise a little bit through stage 2. They are one of the slower teams, I would say, in Japan in general. Japan has a tendency to be this like weirdly paced region. Sometimes it's a bit quicker. But IGZIST are one of the more methodical and slower teams, and I think that Clubhouse is in their wheelhouse as a result. But it's also in Varel's.
Very true. This is a good map for both teams. We saw last time they played it. I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've casted a Clubhouse, Mandy. I wouldn't mind going back to the old Classico.
Dubhouse.
Dubhouse, indeed. It looks like it's a bit of a roam here on the basement bomb site, as IGZIST are setting up quite an extensive setup on the top floor. Few jammers to deny drones, reinforcements to rotate holes, hatches open, 10 consoles, everything they could possibly want.
Does look like they are going to do a full 3-floor roam, or IGZIST, but on the other side, Varel look like they're going to get into the map very quickly. Here goes Okamesh on his entry down in garage. No barbed wire to his side, and he's going to be met by the shotgun on the other side. It's actually a direct trade onto Sifty, but here's Alku, who's coming through dirt as well. Looks like it's a direct execute onto the bomb site.
Kayu's actually got a pretty good spot, but that diffuser cannot go down safely when Ashwall is opened up, and there is a player on the hatch. V-Board jumps on down for IGZIST, reclaims that diffuser, and with it, bomb site control. That Vulcan canister on dirt has completely shut out IGZIST, or rather Varel, from continuing this rush. And what a rush it has been. A minute left. A minute, rather, has gone down. 2 minutes left, and we have less than half the server alive as another player bites the dust. IGZIST are holding on well and truly to this defense. And Copa Hippo, the newest addition for Varel, lies all on his lonesome.
Oh, what's going on here? Okay, the vertical going out for Copa Hippo. He doesn't actually take any damage from that C4, but surely the shotgun's going to come around the corner and kill him. And it actually does. This is not the player that killed him.
But it was an entertaining kill feed nonetheless. That was an entertaining round, Mandy. And can I say, do you want to just switch full time? Like, you can just be the play-by-play from now on. You bring the hype, and I will bring the information about Greek donuts. I think that's that's my value that I provide to the podcast.
Confused hype, I think, is what's going on in the game. Like, how is the kitchen hatch open? You know, like they have no hard breach. Just like the defense has opened it for them or whatever. But like, why? You know, like how is it they go for this like perfect rush and it happens to be that the kitchen hatch is open? Like all things. Like, what's happening?
I would love to know. I would love to know. But you're the analyst, so I'll leave that up to you.
No, I don't know either. That's why I'm saying we're in the confused type, you know. If you want me on play-by-play, I'm just going to be like, huh? You know?
Well, that's Japan League for you. These guys bring all kinds of stuff, and they really do just live in their own meta, right? In their own environment, and they play so differently to so many other regions, which makes it so exciting.
It's a good fun one, isn't it? Especially against these two teams, right? Like, you can't think of Varel without thinking of something really strange going on in the server. And IGZIST, well, they were ready for it that time, somehow. They actually did a really good job at the retake onto the basement. But will they be ready for whatever is happening in this round? I sure hope so.
Well, Varel not telegraphing anything crazy with their operator picks. They've got 2 hard breaches. They got a lot of soft breach, a lot of explosives and nades. Ooh, speaking of, we haven't talked about the patch notes at all. But, man, there are some shake-ups, that's for damn sure.
Oh, true. Did that happen already? Is that got like,
no.
has that gone live?
No. Yana's still got nades here.
You baited me. I was like, huh? Like,
well,
I'm telling you, it's my day to be confused. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I'm more looking at this lineup from Varel and saying, oh,
sorry,
okay,
that was so unfortunate for Akamesh. Sorry, yes.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Rin is still running the Yana, but of course, once she loses her nades, we might instead see a bit more gridlock instead. Akayu walks straight into the waiting arms of V-Bort. A very ill-advised push there for Varel. That's Diffuser down in construction as well.
Not the most calculated push, I think, is the way that I would phrase that one. It did look like he was just a bit overconfident in taking that one. He died. Unfortunately for Varel, losing out on the first pick 2 times in a row now. Meanwhile, IGZIST, they still look pretty comfy on their setup at the moment. Okamesh is going to directly challenge the shield onto Marvi on the other side. Meanwhile, Rin down below has got one last grenade in hand to try and make things work.
Ooh. There's the kill. In fact, the double now as Okamesh has come to life as well. It's IGZIST in a pretty solid spot, or rather, Varel in a pretty solid spot. IGZIST, on the other hand, look at this. They have fallen to pieces. It's all up to V-Board now. Guess what? He's going to have to ace up here, Mandy. He's found 2 already. That Diffuser should still be within his clutches. Rin pushes up and finds the final kill, and with that, Varel have their first round.
Yeah, welcome to Japan League, apparently, where you can, like, walk in the building and look at a line of sight and shoot them. I cannot believe that Okamesh got his double over on Cash side, to be honest. All he needs to do is walking in through that Kennel's Breach. He killed the player in Cash through the soft wall, and then, like, just 1v1 the person behind the shield, and they, like, pop their head out, and he's dead, you know? So that's pretty nuts, I think, from Okamesh and from Rin on their double down of their 2 pushes to claim the picks that they needed to win out that round. So I wouldn't think about it any other way, to be honest. I think Donuts Varel in that last one just did some good shooting and took them out.
Oh, that's what Varel do best, right? They don't have the macro strat kind of playstyle that we expected in Stage 1. They're not going for their crazy Glaz Maverick pushes, but they do have potentially even an upgrade when it comes to firepower on this roster. Obviously, Okamesh has always been an insane gunner, but Rin is extremely well known for his time with D plus Kia in the Korea League and in APAC North, and at various majors and 6 invitationals as well. He was always their prime lurker and a fantastic entry for the squad as well. Now joining Varel, that's a huge upgrade to the fragging power, and that's what they do best.
Interesting as well, Rin, I believe, is speaking Japanese to the rest of the roster too, so even though he's from Korea, he is multilingual, which is exciting. It's very cool that, like, I think we actually have this, like, merger of the 2 regions to come together, even when it was APAC North, where you could have Japan and Korea in the same region. I don't think there were any teams that were, like, a mix of the Japanese and the Koreans, right? Like, at all.
No, well, memory serves me correct, the only time we've ever had, like, a Korean player in Japan League or vice versa was when Hedy, the Korean player, actually played for Norengo back in, like, 2018.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, very, very long time ago. But hang on a second. Akayu has somehow just snuck into sight and found 2 kills. Dispatched with the bulletproof camera and is looking just about ready to go for a plan here. V-Bort is going to be able to find 1 back, and Akayu immediately gets off that diffuser. Carwell finds V-Bort on the trade, and now IGZIST are reeling. Mandy, only 1 minute has gone down, and almost half the server is dead. 2 defenders upstairs will have to retake bar.
Yep, this is certainly another Japan League moment, isn't it? Okay, Marvi is going to, on the other side of this gunfight, be taken down by a Nomad jab. He's going to be able to get up and take the 1 versus 1, but not win it. Okamesh on the other side to take him down. It's only Salty now in the 1 versus 4 with 30 seconds left to do it. It's looking pretty dire. Player out the window is about to meet his match. Certainly, he peeks his head through the small little hole, but he actually takes him down. That's Okamesh, but with only 23 seconds. It's going to be a pretty tough one.
Right. There is some information. I'm not exactly sure, maybe from a Valkyrie camera. Salty drops and immediately is taken down by Akayu. Massive MVP moment for the Finker that round. 2 very impactful opening picks. The diffuser down and the closing kill as well. Expect to see a lot more Finker as well. Next stage, Mandy. And once these patch notes go through, when she gets her nades back, I think Akayu will be very happy to see that happen.
Yeah, I think Varel doing a good job there on executing quick into the bomb site. I think realizing that there was only one anchor there that was really holding on, and somehow forgoing all the vertical pressure that was going on there. I don't know if they managed to just like plant in a spot that was a blind spot to the vertical, or whether they were also able to simultaneously make those gunfights work. It did look like they didn't get the bomb down straight away, even though they killed the one defender on the bomb site. We saw a lot of those gunfights go down around like the main stairs, coming up through cache, that type of thing. So I think it was really good from Varel to do that like simultaneous explosive attack onto both floors going in.
Yeah, very much so. Now, is there some kind of pause here? I'm not sure if this is a tactical or a technical pause. Perhaps our producer would be informed on that information. But I tell you what, Mandy, if I was in IGZIST shoes, I probably would be taking a tactical right now. 2 rounds in a row, you've just lost on your defense of Clubhouse to Varel. And what's more, Varel have rushed in 2 of the 3 rounds so far. And the one they didn't was still over before it started. Now going down to the basement. What's IGZIST going to do?
I think IGZIST are changing up their philosophy a little bit here. It doesn't look like they are going for that extended roam anymore. The lineup that they're going for does look like it's going to be a little more centered in around that bomb site. And I think it's the right read against Varel, right? Like you've been saying, they've been doing these direct hits onto the bomb site and they've been catching IGZIST off guard twice in a row now. So I think that this is the right play to dial back in on that anchor type setup rather than extending your way all throughout the map, and just make sure that you're not caught off guard so easily.
Very much so. Funnily enough, IGZIST were actually able to win the attempted rush on a retake last time it was down in the basement. And that was mostly thanks to the Vulcan canisters from the Goyo, which can really impede any rush. Sometimes one player will slip through, but then the canister is broken and no one else on the attack is able to support that defense. Now we can see the kitchen hatch has actually been reinforced this time. And so with only a single hard breacher in a Caillou, I guess we do have the Grim as well with the secondaries. There's a lot of work to be done for Varel here. Try and penetrate this bomb site.
Alright, so the attack is going to begin. It does look like they are going to inject themselves straight into this ground floor. Of course, there is no roam presence going out on the top floor. And I think that Varel have realized that, so you don't actually need to do this full clear, get the breaches open, whatever. Okamesh is going to be diligent about it anyway, just make sure that nothing is going on around there. But I think they do have a pretty good read that the map is theirs.
Yeah, it looks like they'll make extremely good time of it as well. Okamesh being diligent again, looking for claymores to cover off that garage ladder rotate. Rin seems hyper aware or hyper cautious of players on the top floor. Now we can see that there is nobody roaming right now. All of the defenders are down in the basement. But Varel clearly do not know that just yet.
Vertical pressure now starting to come out from Kawa. He is going to be met with the mirror window on the triple wall on the other side, but he's actually just going to run straight into Long, take the engagement onto Rira and win it out, but thankfully traded back by Marvi.
Wow, this is Japan League for you. A player season opening and they will just send it. A 1-for-1 trade. Rira going down does mean no impact grenades and no more Azami Kiba barriers as well for IGZIST. So I think a kitchen push could very much be on the cards here for Varel.
But can Varel figure that out? That's going to be the question for them with a minute and 30 seconds left to go. Their problem-solving skills are not the best, I would say, amongst this team. So I think that, you know, taking this time now to do the drone work and actually calculate what they're going to go for next is going to be vital for them to convert this round. It does seem like they are going to send in a little bit of info inside of that blue side of the map, but they are going to see the mirror facing that position as well. Seem like Al Caillou is starting to posture for this kitchen execute, although they don't actually have any hard breach left over, so I think it's going to have to be in through that blue triple wall side of the map.
Yeah, wow, I wonder what they did use the hard breach on. We had 2 tin can openers and 3 Selmas. Looks like Copa Hippo is about to make an entry, doesn't win the fight, however, but there is a trade from Rin. It moves in from behind. Okamesh has found one as well. Now it is all up to Sifty on the defense, locked into Dirt Tunnel. Has to win this 1v1, but Okamesh has him on lock. The pistol looking to go hunting now as Rin has re-picked up that diffuser. And Okamesh can close. Final kill for Varel. That is a massive 3 rounds in a row on the attack for Varel. And IGZIST are left reeling.
Yeah, a really tough one. A head scratcher, I think, has been this game for Varel. It didn't look like they had their in onto the bomb site. Like we said, they really squandered their wealth of hard breach not getting open that kitchen hatch, and it did look like they were more centered in around that triple wall. They didn't even get the triple wall open in the end. All they needed was for Okamesh to somehow get a backstab off inside of blue, even though there was a mirror facing him on Salty, and even though there was a Goyu canister that was actually, preventing him from getting in around the back of Church. He somehow made that work for himself, and simultaneously the entry that came in through the one moto door into the bomb site somehow went the way of Varel instead. Sometimes all it takes is to win some crucial gunfights and to do some good shooting, and that's what Varel do best.
Yeah. I'm a bit worried now for IGZIST, Manny, because they've just lost 3 rounds in a row, and they also just used their tactical timeout. So not being able to convert a tactical timeout is usually quite a big red flag for teams. And when you're playing against Varel, right, you should have a pretty solid idea of what they're going to do. They will look for an opening, and then they will just send it. Sometimes they will rush the site, and sometimes it'll be a coordinated team effort. Sometimes it'll just be one player being like, I think I can make this work, and going for one and dones. But Marvi is going to spawn peek Rin mere seconds after the round started. That's a really big player to take down so early. Already 5 kills on Rin.
Yeah, I think a really nice one as well from Marvi to find the bravery to go ahead and do that. It is going to put them forth a little bit further in this round. Of course, the Sledge, not exactly the most mission-critical operator in this style of attack that they're going for into the top floor, but nevertheless, that is taking down a set of grenades that could otherwise dislodge the anchors from below.
Just having a look back, the last time these teams played each other, it was actually quite a defender-sided game. Both teams went 4-2 on their defensive half, so that is not a good sign for IGZIST here, who already are guaranteed to, at best, rock 3-3 on their defense. But if anything, that just puts all the more pressure onto these 2 next rounds to close this half for IGZIST.
Salty down below is looking for any lurkers that might be there on the ground floor, but he's not going to meet anyone. It's Kopahiko, who's actually all the way in the basement and very far from sight of the Solus. Meanwhile, Okamesh once again is going on his own lurk through the other side of the map. He's just going to try and aid himself with his utility. He actually does hear the reinforcement go off inside of Logi, and that's going to enable him to make this entry work. He lands a really nice shot onto Marvi, and that crossfire can't be had because that mirror window's been taken down now.
Yeah, wow, that was a very pivotal gunfight, but have a look at this. Kopahiko moving up the main stairs. Very interested. Very tempted to try and make something work up that main stairs position. Okamesh, meanwhile, peek into Logi. Mirror window has been open, restricting a lot of mobility. Meanwhile, Carwell has found Sifty playing in that stash position. Kopahiko's found Rera with a nade. V-Bort and Salty come to life now as well and IGZIST. They are fighting back. A huge second pick for V-Board now. Leaves it all up to Kopahiko. That's one. Look for the second. Has the information. Has a nade as well. Will he be able to land this shot? Does he realize the player's gone behind the bed? And V-Board, a massive round. I think that's 3 kills for him. And exactly what IGZIST needed after losing 3 rounds in a row. They finally get one back.
Yeah, another scrappy one, but like you said, great rounds there from V-Bort to be able to close that one out. It did look a little scary for IGZIST at some point. They were at a pretty serious man deficit as Varel started to make their execute work in towards the bomb site, but it was all on the hands of V-Bort to collect 3 for his own and close that one out. It's really hard, I think, to take like an analytical perspective on this game, especially against these 2 teams. You know, it doesn't really feel like there's like massive win conditions of like what walls get open and what planning of executes get done. It's more these just like tiny gunfights that go in the right way or don't go in the right way. It's very much the TDM meta that I think everyone knows, and whether you love it or not, it's there. And it's certainly being played in this game at the moment.
Yeah, very true. But these guys are so good at it. It's what Varel love to do. And I will say, Mandy, like, if Varel went against a different team or a more prepared team, there's no guarantee that this kind of play style would work successfully. And that is...
10 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, that's the danger of it. You saw from IGZIST last round, like, it really doesn't take much to have one gunfight here or there, one spawn peak here, take down your top fragger or your second top fragger, and that TDM style of play is just not going to be successful. It's all about getting the man advantage and then looking to convert it.
I must say, other than Marvi going for his like super brave spawn peek in that last round, IGZIST do look a little nervous and reserved, I think, against Varel, which is like not really what you want to be doing. I think against this roster, you don't want to give Varel space because the moment that they have it, they're just going to like walk at you and that's it. And so I think I'm a little worried at the moment for Exist as they go back down to this basement bomb site. Yeah, and once again, the one player that is putting the pressure early onto Donut's Barrel is Marvy, who's all alone inside a bathroom. They know where he is. They've droned him, even though there's a mute jammer there. But there's certainly an inkling that he can be here.
Oh, wow. Information now for the defender as that camera was taken down. Not a lot of info here for Carwow, as his drone has been jammed out. He has a suspicion, but he doesn't have the info needed. Perfect operator to take a fight like this, though, Mandy, right? Like, being the Buck, you've got so many options. Does he know? Is he going to check the position? It's such a common spot.
I think he has to, right? He's got the shotgun out, skeleton key, and he's going to take down Marvy, the only player here in the top floor, and so he cannot be traded out. And with that, Kawa can start to use the vertical pressure to his own with the Buck in hand. Meanwhile, on the floor, just below him, the Ram is starting to be used as well. But here goes Vavort on his attempt at holding on to Blue. Immediately traded out by Rin, doubling down with Okamesh. Really nice shots from Rin, but doesn't quite connect onto Rera.
Yeah, Rin really is sharp, but when you've got a crossfire, you can simply do nothing about it. And Sifty gets one back now for the defense. IGZIST have evened up the numbers once again. As Varel will try and capitalize on the space made, but they may not realize that IGZIST have repositioned. Sifty is actually in a devilish position, potentially take down Kopahiko. He gets too egregious on this main stairs push. Meanwhile, Akayu has actually dropped into sight and is locking this player out of Dirt Tunnel, seemingly unaware, looking to bait the player in. But Salty is stalwart in his position and holds down dummies. Carwell goes down. There's not much in it now for Varel. They must go big, but it's up to just Akayu. He is caught in a three-way crossfire, Mandy. It does not get much worse than this. He does see the first player. Surely we'll be able to take at least one home. Oh, they line up for him, but he still can't land the shots. This is so frustrating. What is going on? Akayu finally taken down. Big round for Salty and for IGZIST as well to even up the half.
Yeah, I think good one from IGZIST to just hold on to that basement. I think at one point they realized that Varel couldn't quite get open everything that they wanted to get open, and the only thing that they actually did get open was the kitchen hatch. And as soon as that was open, Akayu was like, I'm going to go now and see what happens. And I think ultimately for IGZIST, I think they just did a little bit of a better job actually holding on to the crossfires, making sure that they were playing a little bit closer together there so that the trades could happen, especially down in blue. That was like the very, sort of like the turning point, I think, of the round. As soon as the defense had one out of blue, the rest of the defenders and anchors left on the bomb site looked just so much more comfortable. And I think from there, IGZIST closed that out.
Andy, do my eyes deceive me? Has the Lord graced us with his presence?
I think he certainly has.
Wow.
It's Tachanka. Very interesting.
Right. I love setting up sides with the Tachanka. There's nothing quite as satisfying as just walking around with that LMG and just making mincemeat of those walls. And we were talking about patch notes earlier, Mandy. Now, something that has snuck by the patch notes, snuck by a lot of people, is that Tachanka's actually had a pretty significant buff. The LMG is now going to do 60 damage per shot. That means it's 2-hit kill onto almost any attacker.
Oh, there you go. That's an exciting one, but it's not live yet, yeah? Like, that's in the next active patch. Okay, so Tachanka is still the chunky boy that will kill you slowly, as he was before, but he will not be that soon. And that's what's important. Anyway, here we go. Varel, on their defense, are going to look to hold on to the basement first. It doesn't actually look like they're extending that much out into the top two floors either. So they're affording IGZIST a lot of control at the moment on the attack. The only player is the one that is spawn peeking outside of the main door. It's Rin, who's all alone inside of Logic, trying to... Logic. Good grief. I've said this like 3 times now, I swear. I say it every time in OS League. Over in Logi, and he's going to try and land this C4 into the entry player.
Yeah, it's the logistics office, not the logical office.
Yep. That's the one.
But I can understand how you made that error. It's a logical error to make.
Oh, thank you. Reloading! That makes me feel better.
Well, Varel are still persisting on this roam. But it seems like IGZIST have made some pretty decent headway. Control of the top floor. That said, it's quite night and day, isn't it, Manny? The speed at which these two teams play, right? Like, most rounds, by the time we were at 1:45 on the clock, Varel were already, like, in sight, and this was a 3v2. That's just how Varel play.
Yeah, and that's also how IGZIST play at the moment, right? It's this slow, methodical game. They take it, you know, at their own pace. And that's Exist, and what they'll do as a result is just like, they don't want to leave any stone unturned. They really want to go through the motions to make sure that the entire map is clear to its fullest. They're literally checking every single nook and cranny to make sure that Salty is safe on this vertical pressure.
All right, we've got a fantastic little fun fact sponsored by Fast Ann, the fastest of all the Anns. She's come through and said that Varel are currently 37th in the Six Invitational global standings with 170 points, but they would guarantee themselves a minimum of another 75 if they win this game, which would rocket them up to 25th. That's almost in SI contention, right? Like top 24 go to Six Invitational. That is a huge boon, a huge boost up for Varel. So there's so much riding on this game, and Okamesh is firing on all cylinders as well.
It does seem like there has been a player left in Strip Club, if I'm not wrong. I might be wrong about that. I might have... Oh, no, there is. There's Kawa, who's all alone here inside of Strip, and he's Legion. And with only 30 seconds left to go, he can certainly backstab the attack of IGZIST, who seem to be falling to this vertical of Okamesh.
A bomb has been located.
A great look for IGZIST at the moment, and it just goes from bad to worse. Okamesh on the 2.0 KD. The Lord jumps in the fight as well for a double at the end of it. Let's see this. Tachanka lets the LMG ring out, rat-a-tat-tat, and close the round for Varel, who have once again taken the lead.
Really strange attack there for IGZIST. I think ultimately taking too much time through the mid-round to actually plan out what they needed to do. Of course, the danger of going for that slow play style is that by the time that you get to the execute, there's not a lot of time to do it. And when you get contested by Okamesh through the vertical, who's just like shooting you through the bars, that's not a good sign, That's not a good sign if you're IGZIST on your attack trying to plan out and execute.
Very much so. When you're just losing players left, right, and center in the mid-round, that's where Varel seem to thrive. When a team plays slow and steady like IGZIST, and Varel exude patience, yeah, I mean, it works for them. They love to continually force the issue, continue peaking. And Okamesh is on an absolute tear.
Really strange game this one has been between these two teams. IGZIST, I think, just getting caught off guard a little bit by the pace and the tempo that Varel are bringing to the server. Sometimes it can be good. Sometimes it can mean that they're being really good with details and actually making sure that Varel players can't catch them off guard. And then sometimes it can be there to backstab them as well. When you take too long to do things, especially on your attacking half, it will be punished.
It's true. Andy, I still... starting to believe for Varel. We were both, in fact, on the IGZIST train, right, in the lead up to this game. And Varel, they've had a fantastic start. As we said before, the last time these teams played on Clubhouse, it was a defender-sided game, both 4-2 halves. And now Varel's already had 3 attacks and started their defense strong as well. It's a fantastic sign of things to come.
It is good, but I'm still nervous to say that I believe in one team or the other team. Like, every single round that we've watched so far has felt like it could just, turn on a dime, Like, someone could do the right play or take the right engagement, especially against Varel, where it's such a volatile playstyle to be playing, that I think that each round could really go either way. And I think the scoreline being 3-4 at the moment is pretty telling. IGZIST going onto their attack half, I think, will change the story of it a little bit. It will change the tempo, especially of the game. But I still do feel like it could go either way.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
On a knife's edge, as they say. Now, the bomb site is gym and bedroom, and V-Bort has a great position and the aim to back it up as well. A beautiful shot onto Okamesh, the top fragger, but Kawau on the long angle is able to reply, put him down. Now, there's still pressure from IGZIST on the far side of the map. Kopahipo is going to aggressively look for something on that position, but we can see that IGZIST have seemingly forfeited that position and elsewhere put pressure on. Akayu goes down to Sifty on this lurk and will immediately back on out again, consolidating this advantage for IGZIST.
Marin on his own lurk was trying to meet the match of Sifty in the ground floor, but has just missed him as they've passed each other in their way. Meanwhile, on the side of the Jacuzzi breach, Marvi is starting to join in Rera, and he's seen that it's actually been blocked off by one of those keeper gates of Akawa, who's now holding strong inside of Jim. So for IGZIST, it is about trying to mount a more calculated execute. They have got the numbers advantage here, so if they want to play a more explosive trade game, especially with Rin off the bomb site at the moment, they could certainly do it. It would be 4-on-2.
Fighting their time. Here we go, the EMP likely to sound cover the flashes to go out. Marvi goes in with the Gemini in tow. The Gemini to scout ahead now. As Marvi looks to try and ascertain a position. He doesn't have the diffuser, remember. Rara is the one who holds on to that. He will force the diffuser down. Where is the push? Where is the pressure? IGZIST are looking to make this one work, but Kawau is looking for that planter. Spots out one player, takes him down, but it's not the plant. And Salty with the backstab finds the last two remaining players for Varel. IGZIST are once again keeping pace here. We are even once again.
IGZIST doing a great job in the mid to late round, the pre-execute phase, I like to say, in actually making a measured push as they made their way in through Gym. They realized at some point that there were not that many anchors left of Varel, with Rin especially vacating the bomb site and going off on his own excursion. All they had to do was actually win out on the trade game, and that's pretty easy when it's a 4 versus 2 and you're exploding your way in onto the bomb site, and Cowards also keep it barricaded off the one other angle that you need to watch, right? So yeah, IGZIST is doing a great job in using the space that they had to close that one out.
Very cool idea there from IGZIST, taking advantage of the situation. And we're continuing to see the difference in playstyles, right? IGZIST are just such a different beast to Varel on their attacking side. They're so much slower and more methodical. They don't have the crazy spice that we see from Varel and from a couple other of these Japanese teams. But in a way, it's I feel like it's a little bit less swing and miss, right, for IGZIST. They might not have as many crazy rounds like Varel do, but they're so much less likely to bottle what could otherwise be a pretty solid attack.
I think that's exactly right. With the IGZIST formula, they're more likely to convert an advantage that they have in a round because they're taking it slower and they're actually trying to capitalize off what they've gained control of. Now, this is an interesting idea from IGZIST. They've brought along the Ossa in tandem with the Monty, and in tandem with the Capitao as well. So they are trying to use all these operators to dislodge some of the defenders and then enable what I can only imagine is going to be a slightly more objective-focused approach to this bomb site. Now, the problem with doing that is that there are 3 sets of impact grenades and 1 C4 on the side of Okamesh. So the moment that Ossa shield goes down, it is going to be exploded, and they have to be ready for that.
That is actually nuts. That's a lot of explosives for Varel here. They may have had a good read. For IGZIST, I can only assume the idea is to go for a breach on this main wall. Okay, Akayu has actually managed to get into a position to shoot off that first Selma. Here comes the impacts to try and deny more. So it looks like the impacts are not just to counter shields, but in fact to counter the hard breach, which has already been massively successful as VBoard is completely out of Selmas.
Yeah, and there's no way that they can then actually mount this execute inside of the kennel's wall, right? Their whole plan was to try and use that Ossa to then put the pressure out on the balcony and see what you can get out of it, right? But with no breach going down there, what they have to do now is actually convert that line of sight then into a garage take, which is why Salty's now making his way up the rafters.
Wow.
But irony of his teammates there to support him, he's just been taken really low.
Yeah, this is a massive play here from Salty. There is a player at bot garage, but Marvi is actively watching. And Rin goes down. Sifty can take down Kawau. Kopihipo does not last much longer. This has been a huge conversion for IGZIST. 1 by 1, Varel have fallen, leaving it all up to Okamesh, who will also go down, forfeiting a flawless round for IGZIST, and the best we have seen from them yet.
Yeah, wow, that was a surprising one there for IGZIST. It didn't feel like they had actually won out the minigame over on the kennel's wall. It was a very awkward line of sight with that mirror open, but I guess they used it to their advantage anyway. They put the Ossa shield going down, they put the pressure on all the players inside of rafters, and somehow in that round, Marvi actually landed a 3K for himself, so big round from him. I can only imagine was entering his way in through his own breach, down at the bottom garage to actually convert the little control that they had off the back of the pressure from the Monty. So nice idea, I think, there for IGZIST. And even though it went up in arms a little bit through the early rounds, they're still able to convert their idea.
Yeah, and I think a large part of that, Mandy, is that Varel decided to make a lot of plays when it potentially didn't even need to. And IGZIST were just so cautious. Like, you look at Marvi, we saw him get 1 kill onto the player at bot garage. He was so far back in spawn. He was almost in Narnia, but he knew that that's how Varel like to play. Varel are going to try and retake, so let's take these really safe positions where we can punish that aggression. And now, they are 1 round away from guaranteeing OT, and 2 rounds away from locking this in, as they did the last time these two teams met in the server. It would be gutting for Varel after attending Copenhagen to bail out of their Atlanta Major dream so early in the LCQ bracket.
The attack totally knows that Carl is doing this spawn peek here. Oh, just on the other side, it looks like Salty has gone to try and take him down, but Kawa thinks better of it, thinking, okay, it's too quiet, I'm going to fall off now. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, though, Okamesh is going for a spawn peek of his own. This is just what you expect from the players of Varel. They're relentlessly putting out the entry denial pressure against these Exist players. I think Okamesh has just impacted his own window as well. You might be thinking about jumping out. He's still there. They cannot dislodge this defender at all. Vibort on the other side's like, no thanks, that's not cool. I'm going to go somewhere else. Oh, there's a player on the garage door.
What is this from Akayu? He doesn't realize it, but if he peeks, he may see a player, but prone was V-Bot on the other side. Akayu takes quite a lot of damage and then falls back. I didn't know you could prone behind those rocks like that. That is really nasty. Doing his best bush cosplay. Meanwhile, Varel are continuing this extensive roam. A lot of these players have taken quite a bit of damage.
This is where the Dokkaebi is going to be really important, right? Because, you know, the drone game is not that reliable now. They've only got, well, actually, they've only got one that's been destroyed, so they can actually use that info if they'd like. But getting that Dokkaebi up is going to expedite this roam clear process a lot and just make sure that Rin is going to be at least known in his position in the top floor. It does seem like, yes, he is wreaking a little bit of havoc, but they totally know he's here.
Oh, and they are waiting for him. Walks straight into V-Bot's awaiting arms, and with that, the cameras will also be hacked by the Dokkaebi, leaving all of those Valkyrie cameras from Carlisle extremely vulnerable. So I think that that's a fantastic game of it from Exist. They will spot out where all of these cameras are, as well as the bulletproof on site.
A lot of info now coming out for Exist, which is exactly the medicine that they need in through this mid-round phase. This is the planning point of the round where they're actually thinking about what to do next. So Varel have realized that their cams have actually been hacked and they need to start shooting them down. Otherwise, Exist are going to turn it against them and use it in the planning of their execute. Okamesh on the other side has thought about perhaps getting a bit aggressive inside of blue, but gets spotted out on a drone. It does look like Exist are shaping up in for this kitchen drop execute. I don't know if Varel are going to be ready for it.
Do have the Azami supporting a lot of positions on side, but as I say that, the Gon 6 takes one down, and Okamesh puts, well, his life on the line, and Rira will swiftly take him down. A C4 almost takes down two players from Exist, but Exist immediately reply once again. Kobe Hippo has to be the savior here for Varel. That's one kill, but a lot of damage on the other side, and Salty 1 HP, but still saves the round for Exist. Believe it or not, Mandy, Exist have found themselves on match point, are on the verge of knocking Varel out of the LCQ.
Exist and their slow and methodical and cautious playstyle are really doing a dent into Varel and what they're trying to achieve here on the map, right? The moment that they even spawned in on the map, they were cautious in their approach to the building, knowing that there would be like, what, I think it was 3 or 4 Varel players just like sticking their heads in the windows, sticking their heads indoors. Exist, with the slowness of their playstyle, they know how to deal with that. They know that Varel are going to be doing that early on, and you're not just going to exit spawn and then get complacent and then die to a spawn peak, right? That's not the Exist way. And I think against Varel, where they're a team that is just so relentless on their aggression that sometimes it's not even that calculated, it's just aggression. That's what you need to do, and I think that's why they're on match point now.
Funnily enough, the only player to have died to a spawn peak this game was actually Rin, when V-Bot did it on Exist's own defense. So it's funny to see that Exist, they might have this patient playstyle, but they also know how to do a bit of aggression as well. Speaking of calculations, Andy, what do you think about Akayu's calculation of playing the Caveira in this potentially final round of the map? One of the most risk-taking operators in the game. Like, you assume that Exist have to make mistakes for the Cav to be taken advantage of.
I don't think there's a lot of like big thought that's gone into it. I just think Akayu's like, all right, I reckon someone's going to lurk, because that's kind of what happens a little bit. And I'm going to try.
What is that spot? Inside a desk. Unfortunately, Okamesh is over-peaking and is taken down. Immediately, the Lion scan will detonate, freezing in place these Varel defenders. Now, the bomb site is gym and bedroom. It is likely that a player will enter into strip downstairs, and Akayu could find an interrogation.
I don't know if I agree with that, actually. I feel like it's pretty unlikely that someone's going to enter in through strip with the lineup that exists. You've got, like, you know, usually you do that if you've got someone with nades that's going to send some up from below or something like that. But with the lineup that exists we've got, it does look like it's more centered to a direct attack onto Jim, right? It doesn't actually look like they're going for this lurk playstyle.
No.
What are you doing, Rin? Outside of the double door there, Salty is going to claim his life, and Vabort can head power on the bomb site. And with Akayu all the way inside of Strip Club on his own, the entire bomb site is vacant.
This is not the way you want to go for Varel after everything that they have been through. After going to the Copenhagen Major, after making 2 roster changes, now to fall so handily to IGZIST in the last chance qualifier. It really is the last chance, and Salty has once again handily taken down another over-aggressive player from Varel. It is up to Copahipo, the newest player on the squad, to find 5 kills as he runs straight through that E1D scan. He has been spotted out. He must take all of these fights. There are no second chances for Varel now. Copahipo finds 1. But it seems almost inevitable now that IGZIST, as they have planted the diffuser, will find this final kill.
38 seconds and 4 kills to find here for Copahipo. The player has vacated inside of Logi, so he's afforded a little bit of room to take more gunfights, but I think Caution Game is going to spell disaster for him.
He's about to walk straight into V-Board. What a knife! What a dominant rounds! And a great way to end it. Thanks for the match, says Okamesh, as the game is over. And with that, Varel, their chances of going to Atlanta are in the dirt. IGZIST continue to march through the LCQ bracket.
Super second half as well for IGZIST. We're a little bit nervous for them on their defense, but the moment that they went over to the attack, it felt like they had the medicine that they needed to tame the beast that was Varel. And V-Bot going in for the final kill with a